Okay. We actually have a really unusual instance. I know this is only the first episode in this podcast, but it's already unusual. So welcome back, Ola. After our first recording, you messaged me and you said, I have some follow-up thoughts. And I think it's going to be really interesting for the audience to actually hear. So, Ola, go for it.
Is that what I said? I think I said that you made me think a little bit more about some of your questions, and I really thought that was an interesting one. I think your question was really about the resilience and where that comes from when we hear no's from people. I started thinking about it a little bit more. And it kind of occurred to me that I don't necessarily think that no is a bad thing. I don't necessarily judge it as a good, like that the yes or
That's right.
no
Yeah.
is a good or bad. It just is, and it helps you kind of navigate the pathway that you're on. And every time you hear yes, kind of puts you farther on that pathway. Every time you hear a no, it can do two things. Either it navigates you into another direction, or if you're really, really committed, you continue with it until you hear that yes. So just kind of, I really thought about it more, and maybe that's where that resilience is from. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just helps you, keep kind of navigating through the pathway.
Yeah, and I mean, you said the word resilience, but I don't necessarily think that's the same thing, right? What you're describing is figuring out how to get a yes, which I think is very specific here. When you have your mindset on something, you got to figure it out, and I love that fighting spirit of yours. Even breaking into cars, not out of the option here. So.
Oh my God, shall we continue on that too? So the
Yes.
story, yeah. So the story is many, many years ago. I've had many fun jobs along the way. At some point in my life, I was a bookie for music festivals. I'm really connected to the jazz scene in United States, primarily in Philly and in New York, but also in Europe. So for a brief time, I was booking different jazz festivals. And we were on a tour with the band, and the rental car had something wrong with the trunk, like it just wouldn't open. And at some point, like literally 15 minutes before the call time, and we cannot get the huge bass, like an upright bass, out of the trunk. So I ended up having to not necessarily break into a car, but break the bass out of the car. But the way that we were talking a little bit about it, is just like one of the anecdotes. But that situation, I think, landed me my first job later on, because people's like, oh, she can do things that she needs to do. Let's hire this chick. And I think the rest is the history. But yeah, we ended up breaking out of the car, getting the bass on stage on time, and hitting it on the downbeat.
Yeah. I mean, it's not about thinking outside the box anymore. It's about thinking about how to break into the box.
Pretty much.
Now, look at what it got you, and also 5 years down the line. Now, we both have breaking news and about the competition that we have entered together. And Ola, do you want to share a few things?
Why don't you start? Okay, well, how about I kind of like pitch you, and then then you will pitch me. But it was super exciting. We got this very sort of mystical message from the print awards, like you're entered projects on top of the winners of. You should join us for the announcement. So we did. So we didn't know. We kind of knew what we applied with, but I think we didn't know that we actually both applied. And that the poster house kind of like was a part of all of those projects. So we joined the announcement, which was a couple of days ago. And as we were listening through it, like I was on the call, Julia was on the call, and we were just texting each other, and then we hear the agency of the year for all the work that they've done, including the beautiful exhibition design for Poster House, is John Kudos and Casa. Woo! This was great. We were like literally like losing it. We did not know you were entering for this year, and that was like a little, we were kind of overlapping those exhibitions.
Yeah.
So we were so excited, and I think that both Stephen and Debbie gave you such a beautiful introduction. It was just such a joy to celebrate you. And at that point, like I imagine both of us started texting you at the same time. It was just great. I was
I know.
so
I was so busy replying to every.
So you had no idea.
I had no idea. It's the same mystical, email from friends. Like, you should be there, And it's like, yeah, you have won something. It's like, okay, yeah, we've won something. So let's see what's up, right? But this is a reenactment. Like, what agency? What? Yeah, I was literally like.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's I was not expecting that at all, and let alone. I mean, winning is amazing, but I've never even imagined, being referred to as Agency of the Year. So that's really cool. But yeah, and then I stayed on the live stream, and again, Poster House is mentioned and shown, and more texting appeared after that, and Julia basically said, we swept the environment category.
We really did. We really did. Like that category. And it was really, it's fun. Like you said, like winning, feels really good. It really is. It's a really nice situation. It's just a nice joy,
Yeah.
But when we got to the environmental, and it was like 3 exhibition designs, and all of them are Poster House. It was just amazing. Like the Black Panther Party, the Made in Japan, and Art Deco shows. It was just really, it was great. It just felt good. Yeah.
Yeah, and some people have mixed feelings about competitions in general, right? And I've been on that boat before. But what I've learned over the years is I think we need to understand where we are in the world, in a way, right? In the world of design, in the world of museum, in the world of how do you engage with audiences, and being judged amongst your peers is a thing, because I've been on both sides of the competition. It's never easy. That's what I will say. When I start to see all the entries as a judge, it's never easy to decide who wins. And I think at the end of the day, you are deciding amongst, good to best, good to better to best. And of course, you'll end up with best, right? And then I think the criteria also shifts depending on who you are as a person or your background. And also, what you think is relevant right now, in the design field, in the museum field. So it's a real validation. I think any competition, when you get in, you've been recognized, even at the lowest tier, it's a validation and knowing where you sit in the stratosphere.
No, this is really great. And a few weeks ago, we also won TDC 70 award, which was also amazing. And I think you knew that probably before we even knew that.
No, that's the competition that I helped judge.
There we go. There we go. No, it's definitely what a year, for sure. What a year. Congratulations. This is really, it's fun to see. And I mean, as you said, like the entries were really fantastic. My take on it is just, it feels good. You're right. There's something to be said about having this kind of accomplishment or being able to, be noticed by your community and being celebrated by your community. So I think that's what gives me that sort of like joy and just makes me feel good. Yeah. And I know that it takes a village. It really takes the entire teams to deliver projects. So it's really seeing that come to life is just a moment of celebration.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Congratulations to you as well and the entire
Thank you very
team.
much.
So it's all about the joy, finding ways to work together, and I don't know how else to end this, but bravo, kudos to you.
Kudos. Nice.
All right, so thank you, Ola, for returning. And I
Good
I
follow-up.
forgot to comment that your background is looking amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So thanks everyone for tuning in again, and I hope I see you again in the next episode.